You scratch Perry. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First, our apologies for the late start. You know, a lot of us had some issues with the traffic, so we had to just wait a little to ensure everyone got here safely. Now that we are here, let me say welcome to JAMPRO's Local Direct Investment Seminar. My name is Deidre Dixon, and I will be your moderator this morning. Before we proceed with our program, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge and appreciate the presence of all the participants who have joined us today. Ms. Gail Barrett, Acting Vice President for the Investment and Linkages Division here at JAMPRO. Ms. Delia Wright, Director, Tourism, Economics and Facilitation, Ministry of Tourism. Mr. O'Shane Williams, Director of Licensing and Application, the Cannabis Licensing Authority. Mr. Andre Williams, Chief Information Officer, Jamaica Customs Agency. Ms. Monique Williams, Business Development Manager, Tourism Product Development Company. Mr. Stephen Richards, Manager, Application Development, Delivery and Support, Jamaica Customs Agency. Ms. Tamara Henry, Tourism Incentives and Facilitation Officer, Ministry of Tourism. Mrs. Kadian Phipps Benjamin, Technical Coordinator, Ministry of Tourism. Mrs. Janine Chin, Project Manager, Jamaica Business Gateway. Members of the press or online audience, good morning. To all the participants and attendees here this morning, you are all our esteemed guests. A pleasant good morning to you all and a warm welcome to this direct investment seminar, which is focused on the Jamaica Business Gateway. The Jamaica Business Gateway is an online portal which symbolizes the beginning of a new journey that will eventually see all of government's business services linked and integrated in a single online space. This portal will allow businesses to navigate in a simple way the various government processes surrounding applications for different permits, licenses, and government approvals, as well as track the status of the applications and much more. Again, this is an online facility, ladies and gentlemen. So we will be able to submit applications from the comforts of our homes or offices, in our car, anywhere. But this information that I am sharing with you is just introductory. I am just the moderator. I am not the source of the information. We have great speakers here that will delve into the information and provide more details. You see, the aim of this engagement is really to provide information on the gateway and to properly inform everyone about its purpose, benefits, the status of the portal, what to expect, and more. The program will proceed as follows. We will have welcome and opening remarks by JAMPRO's Vice President, Ms. Gail Barrett, a presentation about the duties of JAMPRO's Investment Facilitation Department by Mrs. Latoya Dawes, Acting Manager for the Investment Facilitation Department at JAMPRO. Presentation on Jamaica Business Gateway by Mrs. Janine Chin, Project Manager for Jamaica Business Gateway. A round-table discussion with various government agencies covering the Business Gateway. A question and answer segment, closing remarks, and then we are asking those who are able to remain with us after the closing remarks to participate in a networking session. So without further ado, let us begin. I will now invite Ms. Gail Barrett, Vice President for the Investment and Linkages Division here at JAMPRO, to the podium to conduct the welcome remarks.
Thank you, Deidre. Good morning. I'm not going to repeat all the salutations that Deidre just gave, so I just want to acknowledge everyone that is here and thank you for being here this morning. Am I not? Do I just bend my knee a little? Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to this annual Local Direct Investment Forum, Whether you are here in person or joining us virtually, we are delighted to welcome such a diverse and enthusiastic group of participants. This year's focus is the Jamaica Business Gateway online platform created to improve investor experience by streamlining interactions with the government and offering access to all relevant stakeholders along the permits and approvals application process. We have with us today an experienced lineup of presenters and speakers, each bringing their wealth of knowledge and experience. Over the course of the forum, we'll have the chance to explore our topic, unlocking economic potential through digital transformation. And we encourage all of you to be active participants in the conversations as they unfold. I encourage you to approach today's sessions with an open mind and a spirit of curiosity, and committed to a constructive dialogue, whether through asking questions, sharing insights, or simply reflecting on the perspective shared. Your involvement would help to shape the success of this forum. Thank you once again for being here, and I look forward to a fruitful, enriching discussion. I now hand over to Deirdre again. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Barrett. We will now welcome Mrs. Latoya Dawes to the podium.
Okay. We should have there should be a presentation. Okay, good morning, everyone. Okay, so as Deidre just said, I'm Latoya Dawes, and I am the acting manager in the Investment Facilitation Department at JAMPRO. So we are your host this morning, and on behalf of our team, it's our pleasure to welcome you here. We're grateful for your presence, and we hope it will be an enlightening session for you this morning. Currently, we are a team of 4 very committed and hardworking females. So there is me. We have Javia McMaster, Vanessa Blair, and Tarsia Farquharson, but they're on the outside, so you'll get to meet them after the discussions and presentations during our networking session. So this morning, I'll be giving you a brief overview of our roles and functions of the department so you can have an appreciation of what we do on a daily basis. But before I do so, I just want to put things into context from an organizational perspective. So you may know that JAMPRO's mandate is to drive Jamaica's economic development through growth in exports, investments, and local linkages, making Jamaica the premier destination to do business. So at JAMPRO, we have 2 main promotional divisions. So it's exports, led by Ms. Linton, and investments and linkages, led by Ms. Gail Barrett. So our department, Investment Facilitation Department, falls under investments and linkages. And our division is responsible for promoting and identifying investments in targeted sectors, which currently are tourism, agribusiness, global digital services, manufacturing, logistics, and the promotion of special economic zones. So once an investor commits to investing in one of these sectors, it becomes an investment project, and it's handed over to our department, and we take on the critical role of hand-holding that investment project and to ensure its successful implementation in Jamaica. So before I delve into our specific roles, I also want to share with you why we began this seminar a few years ago. So we found that in our interactions with exporters and investors, we found that persons were unaware or misinformed about various processes, policies, business reforms. And this has hindered their successful and timely implementation of their projects. It has cost them money. So we decided to get a feel from the investors about topics that they may want to know about And then we decide to host these seminars to reach a broader cross-section of persons. So in 2018, we had a developers seminar which focused on building approvals and building codes. In 2019, we hosted a labor, immigration, and investment seminar which focused on work permits and immigration policies as well as labor laws. In 2022, as you see, there was a lag because of COVID. In 2022, we focused on online platforms which focus on utilizing TAJ website to do several transactions. In 2022, because of the demand for information on building and development, we had another planning and development seminar which focused on building approvals and highlighted the roles and functions of key entities who are involved in building and development approvals. For example, NEPA Parish Council's Bureau Standards of Jamaica. Last year, we did a special economic zones where we focus on the benefits of operating within SEZs. This year, Jamaica Business Gateway. This platform is designed to enhance the investor's experience by streamlining interactions with the government. And we think it's very crucial now as digital transformation is a buzzword. So Ms. Janine Chin will tell you all about that, so I don't need to get into that. So now we look on the roles and functions of our department. I won't get into everything, I'll just focus on the main one. So we are responsible for communicating relevant information, and we provide advice on licenses, permits, and incentives to investors. So we ensure investors receive relevant and accurate information. So our department, we have knowledge across all the sectors that we target. So we are able to advise them on all the sectors. And today's seminar is a part of that commitment to provide relevant information to our investors and exporters. We provide advice on processes relating to like work permits, incentive applications, visa applications for persons entering Jamaica. So our team reviews these applications and we check them for accuracy before they are submitted. So for example, if you need a work permit and you can't find a Jamaican to fill that critical role and you have to employ someone from overseas, we will advise you on that process and take you through that step and submit the application on your behalf. No, you will be able to do it on the Jamaica Business Gateway, but we can still advise you on how to do it. All right. So we also intervene with stakeholder agencies to address any issues you're having. So we act as an intermediary between you, the investor, and the various government agencies. So when we call on Tamar from the Ministry of Tourism when we have an issue, if an investor comes to us with an issue, we can reach out to Ministry of Tourism and they will assist us and we get back to the investor with a resolution. So basically we are an intermediary to help investors cut the red tape and just be your problem-solving partner, essentially. So also we escalate projects that present significant challenges. Usually these could be policy-based, so we escalate these issues to our president at JAMPRO or to our parent ministry to facilitate resolution as needed. We are also required to track and monitor data on CapEx and jobs. So we want to know that the projects we're assisting are creating employment and investing capital expenditure into the economy. So we often ask our investors to let us know how many persons you're employing, how much did you spend on your equipment, purchase of land, etc. We also facilitate stakeholder meetings. So based on the investor needs, we will reach out to different agencies to facilitate meetings. So we could call out on the special economic zones, CLA, Jamaica Customs, to facilitate meetings for investors. And lastly, policy advocacy. We advocate for policy reforms. At JAMPRO, we have a policy advocacy and business reforms department. So based on our conversations with investors, we get insights on issues that they're having and inefficiencies in the system. And we provide this feedback to our policy team. So those are some of the main functions. We do a lot more, but I won't get into everything this morning. So these are just some of the processes I mentioned them before. We help with work permits, incentive applications that are done through the Ministry of Tourism, manufacturing incentives. We assist with port of entry visas and extension of stays, applications with PICA. And like I said before, we engage government agencies to clear bureaucratic roadblocks. So these are some of our main GOJ partners. Basically, we work with all the ministries and agencies of government. So, sorry, it's a lot. Sorry. Right, so hopefully you have gotten a better idea of what we do on a day-to-day. We're not trying to replace the ministries. We all collaborate and work together to try to make investments as seamless, investing in Jamaica as seamless as possible. So thank you for joining us this morning. I hope it will be a productive session, and as we explore how digital transformation will help us to evolve as a country and how we do business in Jamaica. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Dawes. What's important to note as well, so everything that Mrs. Dawes just shared, she shared about a barrage of services that we do offer here. And yes, it's a lovely team, lovely ladies, very nice and friendly, and they work very hard. But one of the things I would like you to share with your friends or even potential investors is that when they seek this assistance from JAMPRO, it's free. We do not charge a dime, all right? It is free. Or partner agencies may charge a small fee, but we don't, all right? So you can just tell your friends that. Now, as Ms. Barrett said earlier in her opening remarks, the theme for this seminar is Jamaica Business Gateway, Unlocking Economic Potential Through Digital Transformation. So we are jumping right into the topic at hand, and we will do so by commencing with a short video on the Jamaica Business Gateway.
Enter Jamaica's gateway for doing business. Access the government business services you need in a user-friendly, unified virtual space. The Jamaica Business Gateway. The JBG allows easier communication between you and government ministries, departments, and agencies. Submit applications online through simplified processes. Monitor their progress on one dashboard and gain faster approvals than before. Visit JamaicaBusinessGateway.com, your one-stop shop for government business, service, information, and processes.
So that's the end of the video. So we will now welcome Mrs. Janine Chin. She is the project manager for the Jamaica Business Gateway project. Please welcome her. She will be sharing a lot of information with you. Also note that at the end, when you have your questions and answers, it will be directed to her. Just joking, but please welcome her.
Thank you. Morning, everyone. All right. I don't want you to be scared when you hear I have a lot to tell you. Yes, there is a lot to tell, but I've tried to make it as concise as possible. After the presentation, we're also going to have a very brief panel discussion because, we want to keep things lively. And so we'll take questions at that time. So until the presentation comes up, I will just give you an idea of the things that I'll go through. I'll give you a little background and context to the Jamaica Business Gateway as they make their way to the first slide. I'll also share how we have moved from being a project to a strategic initiative of government. I'll give a little explanation on the digital transformation process. So there's an appreciation of how we got where we are and where we're headed. The key user experience features, giving you a snapshot of exactly what you'll see and what's next for the JBG. All right, so we're clicking. All right, so this is what I would have just taken you through. Now, just to give a brief history, there was an alignment of thoughts across government entities in 2016 into 2017, where JAMPRO's board, the Economic Growth Council, many government partners, ministries, departments, and agencies, and I'll refer to them as MDAs, recognize the need for a singular platform through which government permits, licenses, and certifications could be accessed. Now, many of us have had the experience of needing to apply for something just as a citizen. And you go to one office and they give you a piece of paper and you take that paper and they tell you have to go to another office. And then when you get there, they say, sorry, wrong place, and you go around in circles sometimes, and it can be quite frustrating. The government of Jamaica has been committed to moving in the direction of digital transformation, and it's the very same when it comes to business. And so, in 2017, with this common knowledge that something had to change, the concept of what was then called the National Business Portal was developed. And it was thought that this could be a place where information could be found. You could find out the steps, so you're not just running around on the road. And you would see through that portal how you can do business. It was endorsed by the ICT Council in 2017, and by 2018 there was a partnership with Ego Jamaica Limited, and they did the first version, then called the National Business Portal, which really focused on information about how to do business. If you wanted to start, if you needed a license, a permit, it was all there. But in 2018, we also went a step further and started a project. And that project is what is now the Jamaica Business Gateway. And we're trying to move the slides. I'll keep talking until we get, all right, great. So, as mentioned, it's a strategic initiative of government, and it can be found at jamaicabusinessgateway.com. We of course, retained the content side of things. So one of the main features is you'll find that information. Everything you need to know about what to do with any MDA across government. Once it has to do with a business license, you can get the information there. There are easy to follow guides, so you know exactly what is required. Also, a very key feature, and what you'll hear a lot about today, is the transactional side of things. The ability to actually start an application, not having to go in office, but start it there, and to also register investment projects. Latoya would have mentioned earlier that the Investment Facilitation Division works very closely with investors on projects, and so through the gateway, you could actually start the process of registering that project and starting that communication with JAMPRO. Now, the project, the JBG, was started under a much larger project called the Foundations for Competitiveness and Growth Project, and that was funded by the World Bank and managed by PIOJ. Elements, however, like the JBG, were executed by JAMPRO. And it's understood because JAMPRO is that arm of business that really focuses on investment facilitation. The project sought to modernize and improve the efficiencies of our government partners and strategically aligned with Jamaica's national priorities for doing business. Now, moving from being a project to now being strategic was very deliberate. As you can imagine, a lot of times you have these donor-funded projects that it's for a very specific time. It's a number of years, and there are some key milestones to be met. But at the end of it, you wonder what happens next. And this is the reason why I make reference to the fact that we have shifted from just being a project to being a strategic initiative. And so economic growth and competitiveness is a very important pillar. We see that through the gateway, we are improving the investment climate, and that's because we're simplifying the way business registration and facilitation happens. And there's not a limitation. It's not just about investment and we're thinking foreign investors. It's really about both domestic and foreign investment. So we are improving that climate. We're enhancing competitiveness by strengthening how Jamaica can compete globally, by increasing investor confidence and moving in the trajectory of the globe. Now, secondary is public sector efficiency and modernization by streamlining bureaucracy. The Gateway helps to reduce bureaucratic red tape in business-related processes. Now, as mentioned before, sometimes you have these processes that you have to apply for, and there are several entities that are involved. By streamlining how things are done on the Gateway, we're able to reduce those challenges because everybody's operating on the same platform. There's also the matter of modernizing service delivery through digital transformation. It means that things become more efficient, transparent, and user-friendly. Thirdly, there's an alignment with the national policy on strategic development. And just to note, we're aligned with the National Investment Policy. That policy certainly has been in place to focus on business processes and environment reform. And a part of that reform, of course, is moving to being more streamlined and having an investment-friendly environment. We're also supporting the long-term goals, strategic goals of government to modernize efforts and have digital transformation. And so everything is quite aligned with the overall objectives of the government of Jamaica. We see that we're driving digital government transformation by prioritizing how we modernize the public sector. The Gateway has become a part of that initiative by using technology to simplify and expedite public processes and promoting a culture that encourages innovation in our government services. There's enhanced transparency and governance. Oftentimes you may find that you started a process, but you're not quite sure where you are. You don't know which office it is in, what desk it has landed on. You're trying to call to get an update. You're not getting through. The transparency that the Gateway provides is you'll actually see exactly where you are in each process, and you have a mode through which you are able to get notifications and also have dialogue with government entities. Now, I know somebody has gone to assist with the slides moving, so I will just keep talking. So as we get into what the benefits and the impact is, we've looked on it from two directions, because our main stakeholders are not just our investors or business community, but also our Government of Jamaica partners who themselves have a lot of these processes and applications coming in. And as exhausting as it can be to submit, it is also quite a task sometimes to take these papers and go through and process them. So for our government partners, it's a simplified business process for them. We would have taken them through re-engineering. As you can imagine, when you're accustomed to doing something by paper and now it's digital, we sat with the teams, and we have some of them here today, and we'll hear a little of their wonderful experience. But we sat with them, all the persons that were impacted from the different departments, to understand what happens internally. When a paper moves from one desk to the other, how could we make it easier? What kind of information do they tend to need that sometimes they spend a lot of time trying to manually pull together? And so for them, simplifying the business process meant going through that re-engineering. There's also increased information sharing. We have discussion boards. They have the ability to generate reports, and they can also share details amongst themselves across different entities that will support the facilitation and the services that they provide. And reporting, of course, is very important because they are now able to have a deeper level of data to generate their own reports, and this helps to provide for them faster decision-making not only on applications, but also in their general operations, and sometimes too can help to inform policy decisions that have to be made. Now for the business community, information 24/7. You're not waiting on office hours. You, at any point in time, can log on to the Gateway, understand through the content what is required, what it will take, and actually start your application. And the forms were done in a way where we understand how things go. You may have started an application, you have to stop, you're able to save it. You'll have your own dashboard to be able to manage all of these things. If the light goes, it saves it. You're able to go back and continue the process. So no more office hours, access 24/7. It streamlines your experience because your applications are online, as I mentioned the dashboard before. And all in all, you will have faster approval because both for the applicant and for the government entity, they are now moving in a much more efficient manner. So what is digital transformation? We've said it a couple times, we've spoken about it, it's a buzzword, let's break it down. Digital transformation means that you're leveraging technology to overhaul the traditional process by replacing your manual steps with digital solutions that improve efficiency and service delivery. It removes the challenges that the manual process has in terms of time, resource intensiveness, increasing errors, which is natural, limited accessibility, and high administrative costs. So now with transformation, you don't have to worry about being in Westmoreland needing to do an application in Kingston. It's all available for you. And what that means is that there's a process. Now, the global standard for digital transformation, and we would use nothing less, means that you go through the process of assessment, planning and designing, development, testing, and training. And this process was not only for the entities involved, but certainly it became very much a public-private sector partnership at work. Before we began, we also had to consult the business community. We got in touch with several associations. We had consultation meetings. We got feedback because we needed to know the pain points that we needed to address, not only for the entities, but for the persons that we serve as well, the businesses we serve. So this became and will continue to be the direction in which we have approached the Gateway. No longer just a project, but a strategic initiative. And so in looking at assessment, we had to understand what was happening internally. And we were able to categorize the level of digital readiness of the varying entities. Category A means there was absolutely no online presence. You couldn't start the form, you couldn't download the form, you had to go into the office, get the paper, and everything was absolutely manual. And that meant they needed everything. We needed to re-engineer, we needed to do all the things. Category B meant that there was no online process, but the actual application was a very simple workflow. It meant we didn't have to necessarily re-engineer, re-engineering meaning change the way in which the process worked. And so we could move a little faster in getting them online. Category C meant there was no presence online, but the entity may have had automation in-house. For some, there are client relationship management tools that are used to manage their processes, but they had nothing for clients to engage with. And so for them, the Gateway provided that area in which applications could start and they could continue on their system. And then you had those that they had no presence online, they have an online presence, but it was positive. They didn't actually need anything changed. However, they may be involved in several other processes, and so we had to integrate with their system to provide more service. And an example of that, and we'll hear a little bit more of that, is Jamaica Customs Agency. They do have their system, it is robust, but they are actually involved in several processes. And so we needed to find a way to make the both systems talk. Because what was very important for us is not duplicating effort, but making sure that all together we worked closely to make all government portals work together for what was needed. And so as we moved into planning and designing, we saw that we had to define, and we've had to define and redefine what a process truly is. Because when we started, it was very simple. There's a form, a business had to apply so they could get a designation to operate in business. But as we evolved and as we got to working very deeply with the entities, we recognized that what we saw as one process sometimes was actually 5, because there were different forms and different applications that were completely distinct that they had to engage with. And so over time, we were able to refine our definition that it's any engagement of the system, any interaction with the JBG that will result in a change in the applicant's status is in fact a process. And so what this takes into consideration is the fact that we have a result, we have a license, we have a certificate, we have a permit. It also means it requires a new set of forms to launch a brand new application process, and it's not embedded within an existing process. And so this is how we now define a discrete application on the JBG. Now, development, as I would have alluded to earlier, was indeed a collaborative approach. And I will not try to mention all the ministries, departments, and agencies we work with. I know Latoya attempted to show you. I would say that we perhaps worked with all of the same. But what I can say is, as you'll see a depiction, and I know there are acronyms, I'll just name them, but it truly is an all-of-government approach. We have the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce naturally being the largest participant on the JBG, but they are the business ministry, and so it is completely understood that many of their entities, many of their agencies would have these type of applications that need to be online. But reflective here is the sectors of entertainment, creative industries, manufacturing, agriculture, film production, cannabis industry, and tourism, just to name a few that are all represented with several processes on the gateway. And once we got to this, we had to move to a period of testing and training. And testing and training is not finite, it's an ongoing process. We approached it in the project by doing our development, testing, and training in phases. And so what we have representative here is based on the various phases of the project. Now, what I will explain is the difference in numbers you're seeing. When we started, we had the first phase expected to produce 14 processes. But at the end of that phase, we had 56. The second phase, we expected to have 4, but we ended with 10. And in the third phase, which is near close, we expected 25, and we closed with 93. And so what we were producing and excited about producing 43 processes in short order quickly became 159 processes, discrete processes that are available on the Jamaica Business Gateway. And it was indeed a fantastic experience with the ministries, departments, and agencies involved, because when we got to that testing and training and we had the session and they pulled their teams in, that's when they truly understood the breadth of what was available. And that's when we quickly started expanding. And so I really want to acknowledge the hard work of all those teams in really holding and owning and appreciating the change that was going to happen for them and their clients to move us from 43 to 159 and climbing. All right? Now, we're going to get into the fun stuff, the meat of the matter. What is the Jamaica Business Gateway? Now, just to highlight a few of the key features you'll see in the user experience, and I would have alluded to a few. I've just inserted a few screenshots so you can see. It is a user-friendly site with information and quick guides. So as mentioned, you'll see everything from starting a business to closing a business. And what we made sure is that even if you cannot start a process on the gateway, you had a link to the respective agency. So for example, starting a business resides with Companies Office of Jamaica. And there are other processes where entities may have their own site with their application forms. Again, we're not duplicating efforts. We have to use the time wisely and get to that 159. So where we had the opportunity to, we made connections with other sites and made sure that the user experience was seamless. So importantly, the information is there. You can find out what to do, where to do. If you can start it on the gateway, you will be taken to the space in which you can start your application. But if it resides on another portal, you're seamlessly brought there. But one thing you will have is the information. We made sure that there was a help desk, ticketing, and articles. And with anything new, persons need an opportunity to be able to ask questions, and no question is simple. Sometimes the questions that come may not be ours, and we field it into the respective entities, but we've made sure there are several areas in which persons can get help. So we have a chatbot, we have a ticketing as mentioned, the boxes you'll see on the screen about information. There are several articles that are added to the platform, and it really does help to auto-generate information, but provide persons with additional information as well. And if all else fails and there's the desire to connect with someone, there's that opportunity as well. We've made sure that it's streamlined and integrated across all government entities. So just to give you an idea of what you're seeing here, in the top right corner in red, it's underlined because this particular application had to do with a productive input relief for manufacturing. Now, a productive input relief, as the name suggests, is a concession of sorts when there are inputs in a manufacturing process. And we do have a few PIRs on the JBG. But naturally, as a part of that, customs gets involved. And so what the gateway is able to do is to send the relevant information, including requests for inspections that are in the process, to the gateway, to customs, because both teams work together. And so what you're seeing underlined with yellow is the notification that came back in the system that it was returned from the JCA. So at the point in which there had to be communication, there would be a push to the JCA. The JCA team will have the ability to review, do what they need, and push back to the team. So we've made sure things are streamlined and integrated across GOJ entities. And as we continue to expand, those functionalities will continue to evolve with other entities as well. There's transparency and accountability with progress trackers. I would have mentioned earlier that there's the ability to know where you are in the process and not have to keep calling. And so with individual dashboards, you're actually able to see what the steps are in your process and where you are. So at the very top of the bar, you have that nice little icon to the side. That's for Cannabis Licensing Authority. And you can see that there were several steps outlined for the process. And the green notification bar is actually telling you what stage you're at. So you know exactly where you are, whether it is with the CLA, if something has been sent to another entity, you're clear on where you are in the process. And you will see at the bottom, there are also notifications and areas for collaboration that are available as well. And this is all with the client's dashboard. And as mentioned, the individual dashboard to manage all your processes. Now, we do have businesses that have several applications across different MDAs. And so what they're able to do through one dashboard is see where they are with all of their applications. And this was a very key feature for the gateway, that ability to centralize your own experience. It's not only limited to one entity at a time. One dashboard will allow you to have all of the applications that are open for you to be able to see and manage. And so as we think about what is next, what's next for the gateway is ongoing use and support and ongoing phased development. Now, I just want to touch on the use and support in developing and implementing digital transformation specifically as a very important part of what's next. With any system, once you put it out there, there's still work to be done. There has to be ongoing maintenance, and that is critical and often underestimated. Now, once you launch, there's a requirement for continuous updating, monitoring, improving, and ensuring that things remain functional, secure, and responsive to changing needs. So what does that practically mean? It means when entities have had their application processes available and they start to slowly invite clients, there are going to be challenges. In the same way that when entities started, they had to have that period of change, of questioning, of understanding what to use, we expect the very same for our applicants. But remember, this is a public and private partnership, and we know together we've gotten here and we have so much further to go. And so what we're expecting in digital transformation, what is a globally understood method, is that there are bug fixes and performances. You ever use WhatsApp or something on your laptop and one day it just decides it's not working? There's a bug fix taking place. There's an upgrade taking place, and it will be the same. So we'll have upgrades in technology as well. There are also new means of integrating systems and making things more efficient. And so we expect with upgrades in technology, the platform will continue to have its own upgrades. Feedback-driven enhancement, absolutely key. We had it with our entities. We've had it with some clients who have come on slowly, and we look forward to having it continue. New features will be developed. We've had several features that we didn't start with, but we have now, because it's in the using and the feedback that we're able to recognize other opportunities for the platform. And adaptability to industry changes. No industry is static. And so if there are changes happening in the industry and we need to be nimble in how we are able to communicate and offer services through the gateway, we'll have those upgrades as well, and we look forward to those. And so in the future, what we're looking at in how we'll work is we'll have expanded content. There'll always be new information to share. We'll have new processes to be added. We actually have quite a list now that we are looking through and hoping to bring on board soon. We'll have ongoing training and support for our entities and our clients. We will also have integration with other portals. We're in discussions with other government entities and their portals, and to see how we can integrate to make the experience even better. We're looking forward to more communication campaigns and opportunities like this where we can let everyone know exactly what we have and what to look forward to. And very soon we'll also have online payments. One of our partners, eGov, who started with us, who started with just the information portal, is working with us to also bring on stream the ability for persons to pay online. So imagine starting your application online, having discussions as you need to online, tracking it online, getting the decisions online, and making your payments online. That's all of what we're looking forward to in the very short future with the Jamaica Business Gateway. And that is my brief summary on what we have to offer, and I thank you for that attention. And without breaking, I'm going to invite the panelists to join me. We have Tamara Henry from the Ministry of Tourism, O'Shane Williams from the Cannabis Licensing Authority, and Sheldon Reed from JAMPRO. We're just gonna wait on their mic. Morning, guys.
Morning.
Our conversations are normally through Teams. We had the, I don't know if I'm gonna call it pleasure of doing a lot of our work during COVID. So we've spent a lot of time on screen and not enough time in person, so very happy to be here with you and have you here this morning. So I'm going to start with some very general questions. I trust the team will be candid in their experience because we know and we appreciate that this is a journey and we have come very far from where we started. So let me start off by saying, by having you introduce yourselves first. The three members here today are nominated by their organization. Each organization nominated an individual to be the focal point. So they are really the flag bearers of their organizations in bringing this transformative change. And so this is why they're in the hot seat this morning. All right? So if you could start by just introducing yourselves, who you are, where you're from, and what you do. Shane?
Morning, everyone. Can you hear me clearly? Yes. Okay. My name is O'Shane Williams, and I am the Director of Licensing and Applications at the Cannabis Licensing Authority.
All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Tamara Henry. I am the Tourism Incentives and Facilitation Analyst at the Ministry of Tourism.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Sheldon Reed. I am a consulting officer here at JAMPRO with the Film Animation and Music Department. We also double as the Jamaica Film Commission.
All right, thank you. So let's get into some general questions. Now, before your processes were available through the JBG, what were the main pain points for your clients and your team, and how has the JBG sought to address this?
Okay, let me go first. Okay, for us at the Cannabis Licensing Authority, Janine, and everyone, we did something similar to, I'll call it a sentiment analysis, to find out how our industry stakeholders feel about the process. And from that process, I believe 4 things came to the forefront. 1, the length of time it takes to process an application. 2, the variation in the documents that are required. Oftentimes, that is viewed as being